One of the things my grandparents, were born in the 1890s, loved to do in Ceylon in the evenings was to congregate around a piano with their friends and sing songs, and sometimes I used to even join in. Now, these wonderful burgers and friends here are going to replicate some of the songs that they heard their parents and my grandparents singing, and I hope they can do it with the same amount of gusto. So first of all, shall we introduce who these wonderful people are, starting with Jerry.
Jerry Daniels.
Age 93.
2.
I'm Edgar De Silva. I've been invited to
play the piano. He's our distinguished guest. He's a very talented piano.
I'm Anna Felice, and I have a many-faceted career. At the moment, I'm doing counselling and I'm working with the disabled.
I'm Ilona Stockwell, a cousin of Anna Felice. My greatest joy has been travelling around the world with my husband, who was in the travel trade and a director there, so we had great opportunities.
And I'm Gail Bartholomews. Anna, how old are you?
78.
I'm 75 this year.
Aren't they glamorous, gorgeous ladies?
I'm James Mackey and I'm enjoying life. I'm 65, going on 16.
Oh, wonderful, that's great.
Hi, I'm Maxi Boulder. I'm 82 years of age and I'm enjoying my retired life.
Hello, I'm Heather Bott. I'm 59. I work as a secretary. I'm hoping to retire soon and trace my heritage.
Great.
I'm Dougal Gonsall, 79, retired, obviously. Used to be Chief Engineer at London Borough of Camden.
And he's an OBE.
Wow!
Old age, 79.
I'm Len Ludwig. I work for stained glass and I do decorative glass as a professional.
And now we're going to start with one of my favourite genres of music of all time, the Baila, which is the music of Sri Lanka. And Sri Lanka means resplendent land. So, we're starting with, what are we starting with?
Kusiyama Sera.
Kusiyama Sera. And a kusiyama is a cook.
Kusiyama Sera was in love with one Pereira. I saw them kissing through the kitchen roof. Oh, my friend Pereira, the winds and voice of Sarah. Sarah kissed Pereira on the roof. Kusiyama Sera and another Pereira. I saw them walking down the lovers' lane. There was one Pereira and old Bella Sarah was trying to win that old love again. Oh, my dear Pereira, I don't love Pereira. I love you, Pereira, once again. So sang Sarah with my friend Pereira. There was trouble down the lovers' lane.
Dance, people! This is what my granddad used to do. That's very nice. Stay there. Stay there.
And the way and the nights are made and the sunshine day on a mountain top. I took a trip on a sailing ship, and when I reached Jamaica, I made a stop. But I'm sad to say I'm on my way. Won't be back for many a day. My heart is down, my head is spinning around. I had to leave a little girl in Kingston town. Sounds of laughter everywhere, and the dancing girls swing to and fro. I must declare my heart is there. Now I've been from Maine to Mexico, but I'm sad to say I'm on my way. Won't be back for many a day. My heart is down and it's turning around. I have to leave a little girl in Kingston town. That's the day, I'm on my way. Won't be back for many a day. My heart is down and it's turning around. I have to leave a little girl in Kingston town.
You think you're smart because you're standing behind everyone. You're like this.
That's how you pretend to hide me.
I love it.
When I was just a little girl, I asked my mother, what will I be? Will I be pretty? Will I be rich? Here's what she said to me. Hey, Sarah, Sarah, whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. When I was just a child in school, I asked my teacher, what shall I try? Should I paint pictures? Should I sing songs? This was my wise reply. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. When I grew up and fell in love, I asked my sweetheart what lies ahead. Will we have rainbows day after day? Here's what my sweetheart said. Hey, Sarah, Sarah, whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Hey, Sarah, Sarah.
Anyway, what was it like growing up as a child in the Burgher community back home?
Well, I mean, as kids, as you know, I mean, we was always up to sort of innocent fun and mischief, and we used to play around. I mean, within about a quarter of a mile radius, everybody's house was their own, in other words. There was the doors were open, we just ran in and out of each other's house, playing hide and seek, organizing concerts in their garages and drawing plans of houses on the garden, on the floor, and playing houses, you know, with cooking and all that. And basically, you know, and then college days, you know, after college, we used to sort of we used to go down all these streets monitoring all the mango fruit trees. And of course, fruits never ripen on the trees while we was around, because we was always, you know, planning it really. We used to sort of, used to say like, now how do we distract the owners and then go to the back and raid the tree, you know, and 9 out of 10 times we always got caught and we used to scamper over barbed wire fences running, hoping not to get caught, you know. So those are all the mischievous things we used to do, and also, you know, lots of sporting events that we used to organize as kids, you know, playing in the garden, the garden there. I mean, everybody's garden was their own, in other words. So we used to use all those gardens together, and we used to organize sporting events, and, you know, we used to, as fun, you know, we used to have a lot of fun. We never sat down in front of the radio listening to, or we just organized our own entertainment, you know. And we even had a group called the Rocketeens, who we played in the Holy Family Convent, Bamla and we were sort of guest honors for a famous group called Limal Mendes. And of course, the day we appeared on stage as guest stars, our main singer, who was Randy Pierce, who used to sing like Elvis Presley, his father died, so he couldn't perform. So we took on another chap called Rodney Dias. And on stage we was introduced to one and only Rocketeens and all this. And Rodney, who was supposed to start our opening song, Wake Up Little Susie, and he got stage fright and he he left the stage and we all followed him, except for my cousin who was on a skiffle bass. He couldn't go anywhere lifting his skiffle bass, so he got lumbered on the stage, and he eventually played for the Lima Mendes group. And of course all the girls were chasing us out of the convent Bamla Picture School. And it was a shame, you know. We couldn't wait to get in the taxi and we were out of there as fast as the crazy lightning, you know. But like that, you know, we always had our fun, and as kids we grew up.
What
Yeah,
about,
and-
what
oh,
about that poor man you scared?
Oh no, what happened was one day, I mean everybody in the garden, including the police and all that, was looking for me. I was sort of disappeared, you know, and everybody was concerned looking for me.
Where were you?
And there was a house called the Van Sandens, Arlene Van Sanden's house, Mr. Van Sanden. And he, in the night, in about 7 o'clock in the evening, he was sitting on his bed and he was probably doing his shoes or something. And then he looked under the bed to put his shoes, and there was I under the bed, covered like a ghost. Because what I had done was I went and raided my sister's, you know, the lactogen, you know, the cow and get this milk, baby's milk pot, they were big tins then. And I had this big tin in front of me, and I was covered in all this white stuff. And he got the fright of his life. He thought he was seeing a ghost, and everybody was up in arms. And then they realized it was me, and everybody was sort of relieved. And of course I got a good hiding from my father. After that was the end of it. Yeah, so like that, you know, we had fun, and it was all innocent fun, you know. I remember once raiding bananas and putting in some boxes above the wardrobe. And the Almera, and then we forgot about it actually. And then after about 3 months, my auntie decided to we didn't know about these boxes well. All of a sudden I heard, we was playing in the garden, and my auntie shouted, "If I catch that bloody Lenny, I will crucify him," and all this. And my father wondered, "What's he done now?" He said, "If you only see what he's done to my hats. We have put these bananas into these hat boxes, and they were all spoiled." And of course, oh dear, I've got to hide in my house as well. Another beating. So like that, you know, I mean, like in the garden, anything went wrong, I was the one who had to take the blame for it, and that was it, you know. So those were my school days, you know.
Good. Thank you. Cheers. And now we want to turn around to Ilona, because Ilona was a naughty schoolgirl too.
Yes, very naughty, I'm afraid.
So
nothing's changed. I'm Ilona. I, like Len, was up to all sorts of mischief, particularly in the school days. One occasion I remember vividly is that the St. Peterites came round during a match, and we sent one of our nuns forward to greet them, and the Peterites, being so cheeky, grabbed the nun and kissed her on her hand. So this didn't go down very well. Yes,
who were the Peterites?
The Peterites was St. Peter's College, and they were the next door college to us. So they were able to visit us whenever there was any occasion. They were our brother college.
And what about that time you went to the cinema and you tricked your nun into saying rude things?
Oh yes, we were taken to see a Sinhalese play called Dupatage Duka, and I taught the Sinhalese nun to say Dupatage Puka, which is a very rude word, and she announced to the principal, "Oh, Ilona tells me we're saying Dupatage Puka."
And what do they both mean?
Dukkha is the sorrow of the poor man, and puka means one's rear end.
So sorrow.
Yes, which is a rather naughty word, but permissible to be used in Sri Lanka.
Okay.
Not in polite society.
Thank you. Dougal is an ex-sergeant major, and he's got an OBE. And what I've found is that he's one of the most determined people I've ever met. So Dougal, how did your determination start?
Before we start that, I want to mention two burgher ladies who were well known in England because nobody's ever mentioned them before. One was Erin de Selva, who used to sing with Jack Hilton at the London Palladium. And the other one is Yolande Wolf. I don't really know.
I remember both. Yes.
She goes as Yolande Bavan now, but she was the two burgher ladies who did very well in London.
Yes.
Anyway, yes. So I worked at I was at St Benedict's College, like my friend here, then 2 Benedictines. Really ordinary place to go to school, I think. I was mainly interested in fiddling with batteries and that sort of stuff in school. Anything unusual about my school life? Nothing. I was just interested in cadets, army, that sort of thing. And things went on till such time as I got to the stage when I needed to go to university. I was going to do engineering at university and took my exams, did quite well actually, till Professor E.O.E. Pereira said to my dad that there's an informal policy at the University of Ceylon which said that they were going to allow, of the 25 intake for civil engineering, 1 burgher. And they said they couldn't take me in because the previous year they had the same policy in, and the guy who was rejected had done very well, so they're going to take him in. So they offered me a place in science, which I said no, I wasn't going to do that. Something clicked actually there. And I got very angry. I was actually furious with Sinhalese and Tamils, because at that time, Tamils also took the place of burghers that were catering places, you see. And I can't tell you exactly how it did, but I channeled that anger into saying, I'm going to do this bloody thing one way or another. And I did. I took the exams outside of the university sphere and qualified, actually. It wasn't easy. It was very difficult. Studying maths and engineering on your own is not easy at all.
No.
But there were loads of people who helped with lots of burgers. There was Professor E.O.E. Pereira. There was Dr. Bartholomew's. There was Professor Caspers, UDR Caspers.
Yes.
They all helped, and that was it really. Took my exams, came to this country. Initially found it quite difficult.
Because somebody said be a bus driver or something.
Yes, I was trying to look for jobs in engineering. And a friend of mine, another burgher friend, said, you're not going to get a job in engineering, there's a lot of discrimination, you should go and get a job as a bus driver or something like that. I wasn't going to do that, there's no way I was going to do that. And I persevered, and we had sufficient money to last us something like about 4 weeks, I think it was. And at the end of the 4 weeks I did get a job in engineering, which was quite good. And the guy who gave me the job was an English guy at London County Council who used to work as a planter in Ceylon. And after the interview he said he knows about burgers and what have you, and there was no problem, absolutely. The determination that I think I have, when I think back on it, goes back to something that happened in my childhood. My father was an architect, and he used to drive, I think he indoctrinated all 9 of us in his family. And what it was in the living room in this house, there was this blackboard that was about 2 foot high, and it spanned the whole length of the wall. And it was divided into columns. There were 9 of us, so there were 9 columns.
9 children.
9 children, so 9 columns, each one's name at the top of the column. On the left-hand side was the dates, a calendar with dates, and everybody who went to church, who went to birthdays, and everything like that. And my father used to maintain this dash thing. And my column was the second, because I'm the second in the family. And there on the top was my name. I can still picture those words, actually, even though I was about 5 or 6. My name, saying BSc Engineering, Chief Engineer.
Wow!
And the same thing was in the bedroom, right in front of my bed. I was tiny, I didn't realize that, actually. And he did the same with my sister. The thing is, my sister and I did achieve everything that he had set out there.
God.
And not the rest of the family. I think he got a bit lax after the first 2 of us, and didn't push it. But it's an amazing thing, and I think that indoctrination is what actually led
you on.
Excellent.
Anyway, And of course it's built further on because my 3 daughters are engineers, they are qualified graduate engineers. And now I've got 2 granddaughters who are graduate engineers.
And how did you get your OBE?
I don't really know. I just did paranormal work and I got recommended. It was a surprise. I got a letter one day in the post from Tony Blair, who was the Prime Minister, saying that I had been recommended for an OBE. Don't know who did it, don't know why, don't know anything at all. But the citation read for services to highways and municipal engineering or something like that.
Excellent. Thank you. So Maxie, you had a jungle behind your house, not a field, but a jungle behind your house, didn't you?
It was a place called Mankolan, which is between Anuradhapura and Jaffna. It's a real jungle. It was a real spot, bad spot, but Dad was in the railway, so we had to follow him everywhere he went. Of course we had our education in Bettycloud. And we'd come home for our holidays. At the back of the house, it is about 150 feet down the house there. There was a massive fence built there because you could see elephants coming, having a look and going off. The cheetahs come, have a look and go off. They don't jump over the fence because the fence were all wide in such a way you can injure yourself. So we had, at times in the mornings you have a look and see these animals come there and have a look. But they don't go. The only thing we were afraid of was snakes. Snakes came through, like pythons and things. They came. That's the only fright of it. And my father was there, of course, to kill them, or there were other labourers doing it. You see the cheetahs chasing a deer, you know, and killing, like you see in
From your
films.
back window, was that your bedroom window?
Yeah, from the bedroom window, yeah. Because all those bungalows, the bungalows they had, really they had 2, 1 floor up, you know. And we were put in the smaller room, my brothers and I, which we seen all these interesting things at during the day. And you see the normal things, like you see in the films, like in the Serengeti, you know, the kills. Of course, the lions used to do that. We didn't have lions; they were cheetahs. We used to kill the, rabbits, deer, mongooses and things like that. That's we used to see that quite. I mean, it's quite interesting. But it was a real utter jungle area.
You were once shot at, weren't you? By an angry father?
No, that's a different story. that doesn't bubble up again.
Tell us about it.
She was a Sinhalese girl, quite a pretty girl, of course, because I have some pretty girls. So we got together. We used to meet outside the house, along the Gaul Road and things like that. But somebody, of course, there are people who carry tales. They went and told the old man that his daughter was having it off with a burger. Now, that was taboo. Sinhalese and a burger, They didn't like it very much. So one day she told me, I'm going to be alone. You can come and have a chat there. So I walked there. I walked in there. But in the meantime, somebody had told the old man, I don't know where he was, that I was there. So down he comes in his car, and we had a car, and I said, whose car is that? And he said, God is dead. And I couldn't get out. But she opened the window, and I jumped out of the window, and I ran out, and he was there, and he took his gun, and he fired twice. It missed me. It missed me by inches, I could have got killed. And he said, I don't want any of you buggers around here, he said. So I ran like hell. I could have beaten the 100 meters record there, because I ran like bloody hell, And I met my brother outside, as I said before, and he asked me, what are you up to this time? And I was panting. I said, no, I just had a slight accident. So that was a bad thing then, and I never seen her after that. She
Yes, probably as well.
wasn't allowed to see me.
I'm Anna, and I've been in England most of my life actually, but I do remember quite a bit about my teenage years when I was at Holy Family Convent studying to get my entrance to university. And that's when I made the acquaintance of a peculiar genre of burger young men called the Bumblewatha Yanks. They were called Bumblewatha Yanks by a very famous cartoonist called Collette, who put them in his cartoons, which used to come out on in the Sunday newspapers. Anyway, these so-called Bumblewatha Yanks, Bumblewatha because they originated from the Bumblapitiya area of Colombo, and Yanks because they seem
And
to...
Watha, what's the Watha?
Velawatha from
Velawatha and
Velawatha, a combination of Bumblapitiya and Velawatha. And because they had this great admiration for American young men, and to people like Elvis and people like young Marlon Brando to be their, if you like, their sort of role models. And therefore they had to dress like them, they had to talk like them. So instead of calling the girls girls, they would say dolls. They used to say to me, "Oh, what a beautiful doll you are." And this is all, you know, completely foreign to burger conversation. Anyway, the thing was, it was really rather funny. I was boarded with my great aunt Ida, who lived in Bumblapitiya, and I used to take a rickshaw. I don't know if people know what a rickshaw is, but in my day, unfortunately, a poor old man had to be he had to hold the shafts of a vehicle which had a seat and a little hood at the back, and this was a rickshaw, and this poor old man could be younger, but some of them were quite elderly, used to have to run with the person sitting in his rickshaw, and you used to talk to him like he was an animal. You used to say, "Go faster," or "Stop." And we used to learn how to give the commands in Tamil because they were usually Tamils. And I was taught it by my parents. When you want them to stop, say Nillu. When you want them to go faster, say Suruka Po. But I had no idea of what it must have felt like to be treated like that. And now my heart bleeds for them. Anyway, to go back to the Yanks, I deviated slightly because I wanted to say that really I wasn't the sort of girl who would normally treat another human being in that way. But unfortunately, there were people who were like that, and we were brought up not to have the sort of compassion that you would normally have to someone who was doing a very menial and very hard job, because they had to run. They didn't walk with us, they ran with us. So anyway, I went to school in one of these rickshaws, and I had the same guy every day. My aunt had hired this same rickshaw man to come and pick me up every morning at 8:15. I had to be at school at 8:30. It was quite close by, not more than, I think, about half a mile. And I would get in this rickshaw, and he would drop me off at the gates of Holy Family Convent. On the way, however, I started being harassed by these wretched Bumblewatha Yanks. They kept following my rickshaw, throwing flowers in the rickshaw, calling out remarks about me and the way I looked. And
How old were you?
I was 16 actually, not 17, because when I went to uni I was just 18, so I would have been 15 plus, nearly 16. And there we were going along in this rickshaw, and one day the rickshaw man, he was very observant, and he saw that I didn't like it, and he said, "Missy, shall I put the cover in front?" So usually you had the cover in front if it was raining. It was not raining, But he knew that I wanted to hide. So I said, yes, please. And he understands, yes. So he put the cover up and they couldn't see me. And ever after that, whenever we caught sight of any Bamblawatha Yank within a radius of a 50 square yards, say, he would say, Missy, I stop, and I put the cover up. And I said, please.
Oh,
That's my little story about Bamblawatha Yank.
Okay.
how great.
And what about the pencil skirts and stuff you were saying?
Oh, yes, well, that was at uni. I was probably one of the most westernized girls at uni. And I had a red umbrella, and I used to wear pencil skirts because those were the fashion at that time. And I had this red umbrella, which was a very bright umbrella and rather startling. And everyone used to call me the lady with the red umbrella because they could see it coming from quite a long way off. The other thing was, this is even funnier, you don't really know about this, but I'll tell it because it's funny. I got a crush on one of our lecturers. He was called Ian Vandenriesen and he was an economics lecturer. And I developed a big crush on him. So I would go in my tightest pencil skirt and sit in the front row of the lecture theatre and make eyes at him like anything. I don't think I took down any, sensible notes at all because I was concentrating on attracting his attention. And he was doing his best not to notice. And for years and years and years, he did his best not to notice. Not years and years. For the first year, when I was a fresher, he pretended not to notice. Alas, in that period of time, I had found myself a Sinhalese boyfriend called Lakshman. And I was going out with this boyfriend. Someone brought me a message, another girl called Daphne Krause. Ian Vandenriesen is giving a party and he's asked me to invite you. Daphne was going out with another lecturer, so she was in with the lecturers. I had my Sinhalese boyfriend, whom I was perfectly happy with. So she brought this invitation to me and I said, sorry, I'm not coming. She said, but you were crazy about him. I said, not anymore. Really, that's enough from me. I think I've spoken enough.
No, it's a cool story. That's a cool story. And now we have Heather.
Oh, I was hoping you ran out of time. Okay. My father originated from the north of England and he was stationed at RAF Cogala just after or during the last war. He happened to meet my mother as he was strolling down Lighthouse Street in Gaul. She was on the veranda taking her evening constitutional and he happened to notice this pretty little girl there.
Yeah.
My mother's parents and grandparents had lived in Gaul for years and years and years, and on my last trip to Ceylon I traced my heritage back to the 1800s. Anyway, to cut a long story short, my parents, on their first date out, my father had to take her parents and her sisters to the cinema. She was sat at one end of the row and he was at the other end with the family in between. Oh Lord. Well, things must have moved on from there because they obviously got married and had 8 children. So something happened between their first evening and then. Then in the early 50s, my parents moved to Colombo. And because my father was white and English, he got a top job. And we had a fantastic lifestyle, big house, with the Kusiyamma, Aya, garden boy, chauffeur, the lot. We were chauffeur driven to St. Bridget's Convent. And then unfortunately in the 60s, my father decided to come back to England. Luckily not to the north of England. We settled in the Midlands. But he, first of all, came to England to find a house and a job, and he brought 2 of my brothers with him. And when he did that, then he sent for my mother, who didn't want to come to England, because previously she'd been to England twice, and she hated it, both times. But unfortunately we had to come, and as I say, there was 8 of us, and it was an eye-opener going to an English state school in Coventry. compared to St. Bridget's.
Yes, of course.
When my father came, obviously the chauffeur and everybody else had to go, and we thought it was a disgrace to go to school in a rickshaw. we were horrified that we had to go in a rickshaw to school. And then when we came to England, we came by ship, and it took 3 to 4 weeks to get here, and we were seasick all the way here. Apart from my elder sister, who decided that she was going to meet with the cabin crew downstairs.
Yeah.
My mother found her, and you can imagine what happened then. She's always been a flirt.
Yeah, she hasn't
And she
changed.
still is at this age.
Yeah.
And my father picked us up from Southampton in one car. There was 9 of us, travelling from Southampton to the Midlands. When we arrived in the Midlands, we saw this, what we called was a tiny house, not realising that we only owned half the house. It was a semi-detached. We'd never seen such a small house. And obviously we were picked on for our accent. We were called darkies. It made a change from being called, what did they call them? Sudakarapotta, as we used to be called before.
What does
Yeah.
Sudakarapotta mean?
A Sudakarapotta, I think it means a cockroach without a shell, meaning you're white.
Okay.
And yet when we came here, we were darkies. Some of the things of going to school was the horrible, horrible little bottles of free milk. I don't know if anybody remembers it.
I used to love them.
Oh, I couldn't stand it. So I was very popular at break time because I would give my milk away. I was only used to carnation milk. And, you know, we were more educated when we came to England than the English school girls were. And another horrendous thing was having to do games and PE in the cold and having to have showers, which we never stripped in front of each other, as good Catholic girls don't. And that's really it, you know, that I can't think of anything else that comes to mind.
But you're okay now?
Oh yes, yes. I mean, people, even though I'm the fairest in the family, people still say, "Where are you from?" But they ask me if I'm Dutch, Swedish, Italian, anything
Yeah.
but Sri Lankan. When I say to them I'm Sri Lankan, they say, "Oh, of course you are."
Yeah.
That's
That's
it.
a lovely story.
Thank you. Come on, dance, move people.
Bright light dawn, down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I met my little bright light dawn, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. She said, "Have patience, little man, I'm sure you'll understand. I hardly know your name. I say if I could have my way, maybe some sweet day, my name and yours will be the same. I met my little bright light dawn, down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I met my little bright light dawn, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. Woo!
Okay.
Now start, right?
A long way to Tipperary. It's a long way to go. It's a long way to Tipperary, to the sweetest girl I know. Goodbye, Piccadilly.
here today. Thank you for Edgar for playing the piano and all these wonderful singers here. And thank you for Wayne for doing filming, Bianca for doing the filming, and Janice for hiding. This is what my granddad used to do.